Well, a little bit of a different approach to a medical career. I started out in the Air Force as an engineer for about 15 years and then had a boss ask me what I wanted to be when I grew up. And one thing led to another. And I went off to medical school for the military and the Air Force. Got introduced, to radiology kind of early on, and it was a draw to me because of the technology in it, kind of a little bit of a match to my engineering background and my interests. So that's how got drawn in there. I was not familiar with it at all. Being in the military, it's just a different culture, we don't have locums or anything like that. We're all wearing the uniform, and so but the one thing I think that's kind of a commonality that set me up for it was I'd spent a lot of time overseas. My family and I, had been stationed overseas for a couple of assignments, and we really enjoy traveling and the cultural experience and everything. We wanted to continue that, and we were thinking about it after retirement, so that when the idea of locums came up, it was a nice fit. We'd gone on a family vacation there. It was in part of the trip, and there was a food truck there called Taco Meter. But I was joking with somebody that, hey, this is my retirement plan, in a few years when I get done. It's like, I'm going to open up a franchise. I told that to a guy we had met while we were traveling, part of our trip there up on the North Island. He's like, and he happened to be a doctor, and he said, hey, New Zealand, needs doctors all the time. There's a lot of locums opportunities here. And I'm like, really? So it was a little bit of good fortune showing another buddy of mine, military buddy, he was retiring a couple years before me. And we were just chatting about, what we plan to do in retirement. We were trying to figure out, how to go about that. And both of us our families sort of a similar bet. We would meet up while we were traveling and just really enjoyed, getting out and venturing and all that kind of stuff. And so we were both kind of thrilled with the idea of going to New Zealand. And he retired first. He did, do some online research while we were stationed together in Japan, and he found GMS, actually went out and did an assignment with them for 6 months. And so, of course, I followed along with great interest and everything like that. And so when the came for me to retire a few years later, it was a pretty easy hookup to connect me with the folks there at GMS. It definitely helps going through the staffing agency to, especially if you're not used to the whole process of moving overseas, being in a new culture, working through some other country's bureaucracy and everything like that. Having somebody along to sort of guide you through it and help. That was a big draw to me to go with the staffing agency. There are people that, do it on their own, that go to work over there, and plenty of folks that do that. And maybe if you're planning on staying longer, that might be a good way to, do it. But for the first time and sort of testing it out and everything like that, it's definitely a huge advantage to have somebody holding your hand and guiding you through the process. They were a big help. The credential process, the insurance, and the visa. Visa is critical,
Sure.
work visa. So I'm glad I didn't have to, because those are all different agencies. Just because the hospital's in the hurry to get you doesn't mean that the immigration guys are. Really, it goes back to the people, it's like you can go over there and have as much fun as you want, running around and everything like that, but what makes or breaks your experience are the patients and the colleagues that you work with there. I do feel like I get a lot of appreciation for, being there and being part of the team and everything. They were very welcoming and everything like that. And so that's what really leaves me open to go back. The pay is not great. Currency translation doesn't help us, coming translating that into US dollars or anything like that. But, while you're there, everything's in the local currency that you're paying for. So, I mean, traveling around there is easy, and it's not expensive less expensive than it would be if you flew in there and did stuff like that. So that part was really facilitating. But as much as I got out and around hiking and kayaking and all that stuff, I mean, it's really the people that I work with. I'm still in touch with, the folks from the group and my colleagues that I worked with there.